Hey geeks, welcome to the series of videos on all about JWT, where we are trying to understand that what is JWT and how we're going to implement. So far we have already understood what is JWT, how we are going to implement it in Node and React, that is in front end and back end, how we're going to implement it. Those concepts, the theoretical part, we have understood. Now in this video we are going to understand that how we are going to set up the node server. This whole series is all about explaining the article. So we have already explained about the first part of this article, and now from this video onwards we are going to understand the second part of the article, where we in this second part we are going to implement node server, and then third part of this article we will be explaining about how we're going to implement the front end. But before front end, let's try to build our Node.js backend. Now this backend we are going to just clone the repo which is already there on GitHub. I will follow the same process via which you guys also be following. So I'll be kind of the user, viewer or reader of this article. Will follow that, will download that, and then read the instruction and accordingly proceed to install and run the application node server, and then we will go to understand each one of the code there present, and that's how we will complete this article to understand. All right, then. Uh, Without doing further delay, we are going to just start it. So just to give you heads up, like these articles I didn't wanted to make it so long because I wanted to focus on just about the JWT, not something related to database and all, but some part of database I will be touching in this video, where just to set so that if the database set for us, then it will be easier to understand and that server is working, and it will be kind of like experiencing it live, right? So that's why I won't go deeper into database. I will just set up that, and you guys can also do the same, because everything will be there inside the readme file, and all instruction related to that, what is the code working and what the code is all about, why, which piece of code has been written, are already there inside the article. So we'll learn this article together. So please hang on. Alright, so this is the second part of the article, where this image, if I just try to understand, I just created this image to make us understand that this is front end, this is back end, and we are going to build back end. Front end is like first we are going to, so there are multiple endpoints where we'll be going to build, right? Now each endpoint will have some requirement and some purpose, of course. So if you see here, I'm just saying that front end is requesting login, and login endpoint will respond with JWT token. Here hackers R token is again a refresh endpoint, which we have already discussed, but again we are going to discuss in this article as well, because earlier we just discussed that we are going to build these many endpoints. Right now we will be building that. Okay, so this R token is about, like, again it will reply with a JWT token. We have another endpoint hacker/all, which kind of like we will be not actually all, it will be like hacker/top. It's a mistake, but anyway, just assume it for now that hacker/top, which we'll be explaining in downwards of this article. Here hacker list will be responded, but while requesting hackers/top, we need to pass the access token, that is the JWT token, to the server. Now in order to get these all functionalities, we will have to have first ready with backend. So if you have not already went through the first part of this article, I highly recommend it to go through that, because if you are not already aware of what is JWT and how it can be implemented in front and back end, theoretical aspect of that, then please go through that first and then come back and we will learn together. Okay, so let's start this one. It's like this is the backend we are going to implement. So what are the requirements for this, we will first go through. Before jumping to that, we already know that this image is I hope it is explaining everything to you guys. Like, this is what login is request and registration request will be going, and then what, I think I have missed the registration endpoint here, but login is there, R token is there, and hackers top is there. A little modification is required, but name, there's nothing in name you can understand, right? It's just about making requests and getting response and requests are valid here, that I can assure you. Now this code which we are going to write in node server, it will be very much near to prod. I would say if you just modify some of the code to make it more standard, then you can use that in production as well. So that I can assure you. Now let's try to go into that understanding part. So the prerequisite is like, you must be aware of some node related stuff, that how node server works, how nodes you can create a small node server, not the big one, not required. I would say that if you know how to install the node server in a local system and create a normal server, very basic server and basic endpoint, then I would say that you're good to go with this learning. That's the one. And of course the Express framework, I would recommend that I'm using, because Express framework in the node server by building them. The first thing which we are going to do is, we'll clone the repo. The code is already there. As I already said this to you guys, that I'm not going to write the code from scratch, because this is not about tutorial on node server. This is tutorial about JWT. So I will clone the repo. We will understand that how to run it one by one by reading the readme file of that repository, and then we will try to understand each one of the files present in the code, so that it will be very clear. And we will try to not spend much time on those code which are not very necessary for our understanding of JWT, but we'll focus more on the part of code which is more related to implementation of JWT, where involvement of JWT is present. Because I am assuming that you already know that how server works, how everything works, but if you're not aware on JWT working principles and concept and implementation, that you are going to get help from here. Awesome. So the first thing we are going to do is, we are going to create a folder. What I can say is, let's create a folder here, and then we will simply write it. Let's create our my node JWT, or we can simply create a JWT folder, because we are going to clone the front end as well. So instead, let's create this. If I just open the terminal here, new terminal on the tab, and what I'm going to do is, I need to clone it, right? So how I'm going to clone it? This clone URL will be available in the article here, where this repository, right now it is, if I just click this, you don't see that. Yeah, now here you go. This is yet to be published while recording. Once you publish this, red and all errors will be gone, so just be sure on that. So this is the article. I'm just going to copy the URL so that I can clone it, and simply you clone it. Make sure that you have installed Git and of course node server as well before doing these steps with me. So the very basic command is git clone, and then paste the URL, and tada, you are done with cloning part. Now we can simply go to this clone folder by doing cd, and then we'll open our VS Code here. So this VS Code, Now if you see, let me just open this readme file for you guys for better understanding, or you can simply read the instructions from different places. But yeah, let's try to understand here. So cloning is done. What we are going to do right now is like how to run this repo, right? In order to run that, all instructions are given there. So you simply follow that and you should be good. So let's try to understand each one of them. Make sure you have git and node 14 greater than 14 installed in your system, which is of course I have already installed, so I don't need to care on that much. Then what I'm going to do is clone, which is we are done. Cloning is also done. Run this command using, so now we should be installing it. So let's install the packages. So npmi is done. After that, we also need to set up the database. Why database? That in the database we are going to store the user name and password, so that we have some users to log in, or maybe registration and login, right? Because this JWT is very related to the authentication, login and registration as well, right? So we need a database, and just to make it feel like how in actual production environment and how in actual any platform, web platform happens, I had to create a database. So you are also going to do the same. Let's try to that. You can also create a JSON file instead of a database, but to make it more realistic, as I said already, that we are trying to make it near to prod code, right? So in order to do that, I just created the DB, and this will be a very I mean super easy. I can say just follow the instruction with me, right? The free post Grace SQL server you can create from here. So if you go to this, let's jump this to our Elephant SQL. If you simply, let me just close this for you guys so that it will be easier for you. So if I just copy this URL and if I paste it here, what happens is it will, oh, I just copied something else. If I just copy Elephant SQL and if I paste it here, no, this link is not valid, I guess. Yeah, this link is not valid. Probably I given the wrong URL, but I'll update that. So yeah, this one seems perfect. So let's be copy. I'll update that. Looks like copy is not happening. So I copied it. You guys will be able to copy it perfectly, I can assure you. Before publishing it, I'll make sure. First, you need to go to your Elephant SQL. Another problem. So better to Google it, right? So let's search Elephant SQL, and hopefully this will reach to the proper place. Now I'm just going to log in. Since I'm logged in using this GitHub only with this, so you can create a registration. Just create a just register yourself on this Elephant SQL and then log in. I have logged in using GitHub account only, and then you just need to follow from here after login. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this for this instance for me so that I can create it again for you guys. Alright, so when you log in, after login, you will be reaching to such this platform. You must, if you are first time user of this website, then you may not have any instance here. So instead, what you can do, you can create a new instance, and I'm going to create a new instance here. So this is going to be a test. You can name anything which you want. Let me just type test, and I'm just going to select a region, and just I want yeah, US East one is fine with me, and create instance. So I'm done with the creation. Now let's reach out to the, yeah, here instructions are very cool. So if I just read this, that the register and login are done by us, and we have already created an instance. Sorry. So new created instance, and you see db info under details section, right? So we'll simply create the new instance, and under db under details section, this one we are having this all details here. Don't worry, I'm going to delete this all after the tutorials, but yes, this one you will also have with you, and this information we need to keep it so that we can utilize this inside our node server, so that we can connect our node server with the database. And so easy, right? You don't need to create in a local database, but it requires a lot of time probably, and a lot of setup if you don't have installed the applications for the database. So I thought that let's go with this one. So let's try to follow the next instruction. The next instruction says that we can simply go here. It says that from the details keep a node, then create two tables by using the create command given SQL. Now database is ready for sure, but we don't have any table inside this, right? We need two tables. One is hackers, another is hacker details. Hackers will be the one where we will store the user, just username and password, and hacker details will be the detail about each hackers. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the query, how to create the table. I have already given that here. If you just click on sql.txt in the repo, and then let's try to copy this simply without delay. So if we go to browser here, and we just paste it, and if we create execute, wow, if you see, if I refresh it, I will have one table which is hackers, if it has a 0 elements right now, because we have not even registered any user in on our website in our. So let's try to create another table which is hacker details. That's also got created. If you try to see, you will see that two tables are created now. All right, table creation is done. So we are done with this part. Now your DB is ready. Our DB is ready to be used. Cool. Now another setup we have to do is create a .env file. Why .env? Because we are going to put the credentials of database inside that .env, and of course you are not going to push that on server, right? So in to do that, we have to create a .env. So let's follow that. You created a .env file, and what it says, like, create a .env file in the root folder of the project and paste content from .env example. So we have this example. We can simply copy that and paste it here. If you see, okay, I just copied this one as well. So now this information is required. If you see, these are all our database information, and these two secret keys we will come to this part later. First, let's complete our DB user part. So it says DB user. What is DB user? What is host? Let's try to get that from details here. If you go to details, we have our user and database are same. So user we are going to paste here, and same as DB server is the database. Now we need host. What is the host here? The host is the server, which is this one, db.elephant_. So we can simply replace this and paste it. DB password, you can simply copy it from here and put it. Token secret and refresh token secret. If you were the part of, you already went through the part 1, article understanding, there were 3 videos I guess are there. In that videos we have understood what is token secret. what is a refresh token secret. So it's like we are going to create access token and refresh token both in a server. So for that we need a secret key. So for all access token creation in the server, we need a secret. For all refresh token created on server, we also need a secret key. Those secret key value we are storing here. Just to avoid that, you can store this secret key inside database so that it won't be accessible to anyone, because it's not good idea to store inside here. But for our case, we are just storing it. Let it be in the .env. If you want, you can store inside a table of database or in any very secure place on any other database on online or cloud. So what should be our token secret? Let's try to give very basic. Test 1 is our token secret for this, or we can simply say that, yeah, let's see, test 2 is our refresh token secret. This secret ticket is highly sensitive, so please be sure to not keep it in .env. For now we can keep it, because anyway .env file we are going to ignore from here. So it means that it will be not pushed to the Git repo. So we are good, but you can store it somewhere else. Coming to the next part. So we are done with setup on our .env. Cool, right? Now let's try to understand. After they add 2 secrets for access and refresh token to generate. We are done with this part as well. Make sure that 4000 is running. Okay, your server may be running on different port as well, but right now if you clone this and you go to index file, you see that 4000 is given. I have not given any port in environment file, but if you give, it will take from there. But this is the 4000 by default it will take. So make sure that this is not running. So right now what it is saying, that if you're sure that it is not running, then you're fine. Otherwise, if it is some other application in your system is running at 4000, you can simply make it 5 instead. Right now I'm keeping it as 4000 port. So after this we can simply run this command npm start to start the server. Let's do that. Npm start. The server is running perfectly. Alright, so optional step is this one. Like if it as a part of this, if you see dev dependency in package.json, it's nodemon running. So I hope you are already aware of this, because this nodemon does nothing. Is like whenever do any changes to the server, let's say I'm just going to change, just enter a given and the server got started one again. It detected the change and it restarted the server. That's the beauty of nodemon. So I hope it is running. If it is not running, you go ahead and check what's the error you are getting. I hope so you won't be getting any error. It will be very smooth the way I just shown you guys. I've done nothing extra from my side to run the nodemon. It was automatically running because it was part of the dev dependency. Now if it is not running properly in your system, you go ahead and check why it is not running. I'm sure it will be very easier to fix it, because it's not a big deal. That I can assure you. Let's try to move further. So if I just want to talk about this, the prerequisite we have already understood. What are those? Now just time-saving tips for those who are already aware of all of these things and they have experienced a lot. So time-saving tip is like, if you are already aware of how node server gets built, what are the routes and all, you can skip this video and some coming videos as well. The way I have, you can skip this part of the article as well. You can simply jump to the understanding auth controller hot of JWT implementation. The video will be created in the later part, and then try to understand that if you are already aware of all of the server-side concept. But if you're not, then you please be with me and I'll be going through one by one. That's the time saving tip. I know everyone is lot of things are already aware for few people, but for the person or the students who are not already aware on that JWT, I feel like this will be helpful, that what is this JWT and what is the cookies and all those concepts are required to understand. So table of contents are this, you can go through them. I'm not going to read that. Concept summary is, yeah, this is, let's just touch this all. It's like very simple. We are going to create these 4 APIs: registration, login, and stop hackers, which will provide number of hackers, and then refresh token. These 4 endpoints we are going to build, and it's already built, but we are just going to understand it. And then we will focus on R token. Basically, we are trying to understand is like registration. You know what is registration. Login, you know what is login. But top hackers will is like just getting the top hackers from the database, and R token is like refreshing the token, which we have already understood in our previous videos. So let's try to understand those. And for R token and login, both are somehow related to understand the cookie. Here R token and login as the main I can say top slash number as well. Those 3 endpoints are somehow involved with the cookies. So in the next part of the video, we're going to understand this. So we'll understand the npm packages used, and then we will jump to our basic understanding of the code written in the node server, and then quickly jump to the JWT concept understanding. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.